end-of-life sessions that you probably will be paid for. Guess what happens when the federal government says, we'll pay for end-of-life counseling sessions, not compulsory? Guess who pops up to exist is a whole industry of people that will say, you must have, this is meaningful for your life, you must have an end-of, because they get paid for it. So they will pop up, probably out of Acorn, they'll pop up with people and say, we're counselors, and we're here to help you with end-of-life. And Medicare's paying for it. So it's
social scientists.
Right, social scientists. And Medicare's paying for it. And you'll see churches unwittingly saying, yeah, that's nice. It empowers people, gives people a chance to talk about it. And we'll have these end-of-life sessions that will be all about rationing care. And again, people say rationing care. Well, don't you think there's rationing already? Well, I don't think there's rationing already in the sense of that word. But there are decisions made about your health care. And at their best, those decisions are made by people like you, who bring your own values to your decisions. I do want to do this, I don't want to do that. That's why we have this country as opposed to others. And at their worst, not their worst, but within that continuum, your doctors help you make decisions and they're influential on you. And it's true. Cost and impact and changes in your lifestyle. Ask a senior, a neighbor, a friend of mine who had terrible cancer. You could have, this massive surgery, and you might do well or might not, or you can live the next 3 to 5 months and at the end of your life this way. That's a decision he wants to make based on his values. Not your values, not your values, not your values, but his values. And certainly not a government bureaucrat's values. That's the problem here, is what is a bureaucrat's values? Now, I watched Bill Moyers. Bill Moyers is a journalist. He'll tell you. He's a journalist. He's impartial. He was there with LBJ when they formed Medicare and everything else, and he's known famously, he was like Rahm Emanuel crossed with Stephanopoulos. Oh wait, Stephanopoulos is also a journalist. Sorry, these are all impartial. They're impartial. Their values are impartiality. But I was watching Bill Moyers, and he had on this reformed insurance executive. And the reformed insurance executive said, I used to be an insurance executive. I used to fly on jets places. And I used to do things, and I used to make these, but I saw the light. And now I run a non-profit. Its values are impartiality. Bill is like you. We just care about people. No liberal or anything. And now I see the light. And he said with a straight face, right now, too many insurance bureaucrats make decisions about your care. Again, fair criticism. Let's talk about it. How does it work? What do we do? How do we empower patients? How do we make doctors, and how do we have meaningful? I'll tell you that my wife happens to be a physician. So it's a mixed marriage. I'm a lawyer and she's a physician. So it's kind of, but my wife will tell you, I think, I've had the discussion with her, there's lots of things in healthcare, but one of the largest factors is lawsuit abuse on physicians impacting how they make decisions. There's human beings with training and values and all, but they're impacted by the societal push to have lawsuit abuse regularly. So what are the underlying values? Insurance executives and insurance bureaucrats may be making decisions with values that are not the ones we want. That's a discussion worth having. Why is it? What's happening? But his next sentence was, we can't have these insurance executives and bureaucrats making decisions. We need to change it. We need government bureaucrats to make these decisions. That's what he said. I thought, oh, we've captured it. It's perfect. There it is. So that's what's going on. And again, just like this debate, they're not toying with the edges. They're toying with the whole system of how we would implement health care. And ultimately, by President Obama, Speaker Pelosi, and others, is their goal. Barney Frank is the most frank. It's kind of wonderful. He just says it like it is. He's so far out there. He says it like it is. He doesn't even try to pretend to figure it out. The goal is a single-payer system where government runs your health care. So, picture in your mind, close your eyes and say, other really, really very efficient and lean and well-run, the values we want, systems in government that run so well, like the IRS. We'll just do it just like that. It'll work out great. So that's the debate that's going on in healthcare. And again, I can't underestimate, to me, if the size and scope of healthcare is certainly not as big as this, but it's much bigger than a debate about the future of Medicare, which it is. It's a much bigger debate than the future of Medicaid. It is. It's a much bigger debate than end of life, beginning of life. It's about all of that stuff together, but it's still a piece of this larger spending thing, and part of it is because, of course, the cost. One last quick issue that affects more of us than any of us realize, and in multiple ways, this famous cap and trade bill, which, you know, Congressman Carnahan has voted for and supported and been out front on. The treasure of my campaign, my committee, when you file this, you have to file your committee paperwork, is Randy MacArthur, the owner of MacArthur's Bakery. You might have seen the MacArthur's Bakery was as soon as the vote happened. Actually, Randy MacArthur, I tease these guys. Randy MacArthur is the owner. His brother is David, who's kind of like the bakery marine. His son is actually a marine, but David's the guy that fixes everything and does everything and delivers things when stuff happens. And Randy's running this, you know, big business, well, small business, but a big operation, 3 different sites. And David, when he saw the vote, the day of the vote, put up that sign. And he said, Russ Carnahan just voted to put us and others like us out of business. He put it up on the thing. It got attention across the country. And when Randy MacArthur signed on to help me, he said it was because all the voices of all the small businesses that he knows were not being even remotely heard when you vote for a cap and trade bill and don't even think about it. And he went through the examples with me. He said, our 3 bakery sites spend $152,000 a year just on energy costs for refrigerators and the ovens and mixers. And if you take that up 7 to 10% a year for the next 10 years, which is what they admit cap and trade will do to your energy costs, he said, we have 2 things we'll do. We'll either close one of our bakeries, or we'll start laying off people, and we'll run an operation that will be leaner. And he said, but I run a lean operation, so we're probably going to have our places suffer in terms of, you know, quality. We'll have to struggle, make people work harder and all that. So, and he said, nobody ever brought it up. I think he employs 85 employees. It could be off. And he has 2/3 of those are full health care, retirement. You know, he's a small businessman this isn't a guy who's exploiting anyone. He's running a business and has a family and has, you know, a good sense of community, and has been on the school board and been someone who we would all say that's a nice citizen. So he signed on, and look, here's why this again is so insidious, this kind of stuff. In Missouri, whether you like it or not, all of us consume with our energy costs, 85% of it is from coal. Because we're in the middle of America, we got coal out here, it's closer and we do it. In California, 1% of their energy comes from coal. Well, cap and trade hits hardest on coal, so the cost will be borne much heavier by us here in the Midwest. Again, not a part of the conversation most of us heard as it was rushed through and pushed forward, but a conversation you might expect the congressman from the Midwest or any of them to bring up and to object to. And so, you know, again, and the cap and trade, by the way, one footnote. If you enjoyed the specter of Goldman Sachs and others making money trading on, you know, junk mortgages that were forced upon America by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. You know, if you read the underlying a lot of the crash here was Senator Dodd and others sort of setting up Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to rotate through their staffers to make tens of millions of dollars and force these mortgages out. But whether you could afford one or not, you were going to get a mortgage, and then bundle them together and trade them, right? This is what happened. They traded these mortgages, junk, the stuff that they now call toxic. Well, you signed on for it. You knew what it was. I mean, if it stinks. But anyway, so those were traded. And all the Wall Street guys made money on trading them. They got them together and they valued them and traded them and swapped them and traded them and swapped them, making money on all the trades. Cap and trade is the creation of another system where we will be trading carbon tax credits and making money and forcing a tax on all of the people that produce anything with carbon, and then putting it out on the market and allowing Wall Street. So that's one of the reasons why Wall Street doesn't seem to mind cap and trade as much as you might think, I don't know, say, you know, MacArthur does. You didn't see, you know, Goldman Sachs throw up a sign saying, you just voted to put us out of business. They thought, we're going to have to start a new division on cap and trade.